Hello there, good morning and welcome to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos and thank you for tuning into the channel from wherever it is that you're watching this from on this beautiful Sunday morning or afternoon, depending on what zone you're watching this from. So today we'll be reviewing all the Saturday action from the Premier League's Matchday 5 as it went down. A couple of losses there for big sides and victories for the others. So, in other words, commiserations and jubilations for Manchester United, for Liverpool and Man City, respectively, in there. But let's get it all reviewed. Now, if you're new to the channel, kindly do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you can be notified once we release a new video on the channel. So, Manchester United had their 20 Premier League game unbeaten home record ended by Brighton as they beat them by 3 goals to 1. Now that's 4 wins in 4 for Brighton, but it was a 20 Premier League unbeaten record for Manchester United at Old Trafford and 31 games in all competitions, with their last defeat being a 1-0 defeat by Real Sociedad in the UEFA Europa League dating far back as September 2022. So it was a good record for Erik to hold on to, but unfortunately they did lose it in that bad performance against Brighton on Saturday evening. So, or afternoon, depending on what zone you are in there. There was a lot of concerns there. Manchester United fans did boo manager Erik for withdrawing full debutant Rasmus Højlund and summer signing from Atlanta for withdrawing him for Anthony Martial. Remember, Rasmus Højlund thought he had scored on his full home debut when he turned that ball into the back of the net shortly before halftime, but that goal was eventually ruled out. So it wasn't meant to be. He was performing fairly well, but being withdrawn did not please the Manchester United fans at Old Trafford. So they did boo Erik and eventually did sing Viva Ronaldo and clapped the manager off as he walked out on the stadium. Now, the clappings were not to applaud him, but perhaps an insinuation of being the one trying to be sarcastic of the situation going on at the club. With all the troubles they're having, Anthony being accused of domestic violence on one side, Jadon Sancho refusing to apologize to manager Erik and being sent to train away from the main squad of the first team, and all those things happening around the club. Now the results are not supporting them either, having lost 2 games now on the bounce, but 3 in their opening 5 games. That's losing to Arsenal, Brighton and Tottenham, but winning only against Wolves and Nottingham Forest. So it's not a good time to be a Manchester United fan or a player or even a manager in this particular case, as things are not going their way. That begs the question, were Manchester United wrong in their decision against David De Gea to replace him with Andre Onana? Perhaps it's too quick, a little too quick to judge, but based on what's happening, what the statistics show is a worrying situation. They've conceded 5 goals in as many games in this campaign. That's at Old Trafford, where they only conceded 9 goals last season. Remember, David De Gea was their best player last season and did win the Golden Glove, having kept 17 clean sheets in the Premier League in 38 appearances last season. Now that was the second time he was winning the Golden Glove, having earlier won it, I think, in 2017-2018 season when he kept 18 clean sheets there. So he was a great shot stopper, but he was not a great ball playing goalkeeper. So they substituted De Gea with a good ball playing goalkeeper who may not be a great shot stopper. How does that help them? Are they very great in their build-up? Well, their first few games have not proved us that they are, but it is worrying that their goalkeeper is perhaps not doing well enough to stop some of those shots on target. And like the stats showed, Anyway, yesterday, Brighton did dominate the game with about 58% of possession, Manchester United having only 42. Remember, they were at home, 8 shots on target for Brighton versus Manchester United is 4. So, not a great performance from a Manchester United side that we had earlier on predicted that they will finish third on this table by the end of the Premier League season, with many predicting that perhaps they could even finish as high as second. But if anything, if the results are anything to go by, that is increasingly looking unlikely. So it was Danny Welbeck, the Red Devils OB, who opened the scoring in the 20th minute there, opened the scoring for Brighton. But Manchester United thought they had leveled matters shortly before half-time, like I mentioned, through Rasmus Højlund. But Marcus Rashford, before playing that ball, he had picked the ball from outside the line. So the goal was cancelled by VAR and it went 1-0 at halftime. In the second half, it was Pascal Gross and João Pedro that cemented the victory for Brighton and for Albion with half substitute that was Handball Mejbri for Casemiro, scoring the only consolation for the Red Devils in the game there. So everything at Old Trafford is not pleasing. Fans are, very in disarray over some of the decisions that are being made at the club. But I hope they will not point the fingers at the Glazers, because the question would be, what do the Glazers have to do with the results that they're having? They didn't cause the Anthony situation, neither did they cause that row between the manager and Jordan Sancho. But we'll leave that all to the Manchester United fans. So they do continue to struggle. They're shipping in a lot of goals. Like I said, 5 goals already conceded at home. That it was 3 against Brighton and 2 against Nottingham Forest. Although they did win that game against Nottingham Forest by 3 goals to 2, but it is a worrying concern that they will want to address as soon as possible. Marcus Rashford, yes, he had an attempt that was blocked in the first half there, but in the long run, he did appear to be a good team player on the day, and some players, actually, many of the fans were quite surprised that it was Rasmus Højlund that was withdrawn, perhaps instead of Marcus Rashford, wasn't having a great day on the afternoon there, as they did lose their game. So that's it for Manchester United. Remember, their next fixture is an away trip to Germany, where they play Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena in the Champions League next week on Wednesday. That fixture is on. Well, we'll wait to see how they will fare in that one before returning home to play Burnley in the Premier League on Saturday at Turf Moor. Burnley are still winless, so they're still searching for their first Premier League win of the season. Will they get it against a poor Manchester United side? We'll wait and see next weekend whether that will happen. So that's some of the action that will be coming Manchester United's way in their wake of their 3-1 defeat against Brighton and Hove Albion. Izabi sending his side to fourth on the table with 12 points now, having lost just once and won the other 4 games in the Premier League. Remember, they did lose by 3-1 to West Ham on match day 3. But that's it. That was the action from Old Trafford. So let's move it on elsewhere with the updates or the results as they did happen for the rest of the Saturday action. Early kickoff saw Liverpool beat up against Wolverhampton Wanderers by 3-1. He Chan opened the scoring there for the home side, but Liverpool managed to fight back in the second half and won it 3-1. Perhaps what's a little concerning is Liverpool are fond of going a goal down before fighting back. Perhaps they will credit themselves for the fighting back spirit, but it's a worrying situation when they are always conceding fast. Remember, they did concede fast in their game against Bournemouth. They did concede fast in their game against Newcastle and the game against Wolves, but they did manage to win all those games, winning 2-1 at Newcastle, 3-1 against Bournemouth, and 3-1 against Wolverhampton Wanderers there. So Hichan opened the scoring there, but In the second half, it was Cody Gakpo that leveled matters there before Andy Robertson in the 8th minute that gave Liverpool the lead, and eventually an own goal by Bueno that made it 3-1. So Wolves are looking poor under the charges of Gary O'Neill, not in terms of how they play, but uh, in terms of how many goals they are shipping in there. They did lose to Crystal Palace by 3-2. They did lose to Brighton and Hove Albion by 4-1, and also lost against Manchester United by goal to nil. So worrying signs for Wolves there, who I did not think they will be relegation candidates this season. So in the other fixture, Aston Villa did beat Crystal Palace by 3-1. Odson Eduardo giving Crystal Palace the lead there, but Johan Duran leveled matters before Douglas Luiz scored a penalty that put the game in Aston Villa's lead, and eventually Leon Bailey there later on also scoring to win it for Unai Emery by 3-1. The other game saw Fulham beat up against Luton Town by a goal to nil, Carlos Vinicius scoring the only goal in that one, while Tottenham had to win it late against Sheffield United. Now, Tottenham were at home. Yes, they were the better team on the day, but found themselves a goal behind that they had to fight back. It was Gustavo Hammer that gave Sheffield United the lead before substitutes Richarlison found the leveler in added time, as well as Dejan Kulusevski scoring to win it late on there. So Richarlison did score and provide an assist in that game. Very beautiful for Richarlison, who has had a bit of a troubling time and a very wanting career at Tottenham since his signature from Everton. So Tottenham are making things happen. They are yet to lose in the opening 5 games of the Premier League, having won 4 of them and drawn 1. The draw coming against Brentford on match day 1, beating up against teams like Burnley, beating up against Bournemouth, beating up against Manchester United, and beating up against Sheffield by 2-1 there. Then the other game also saw West Ham United lose to defending champions Manchester City by 3-1. I must say that West Ham were quite good on the day. Defensively, they did keep their shape. They opened the scoring through summer signing James Ward-Prowse for about £30 million from Southampton. He was good on the day, but they did miss. There is a chance that they did miss there in the first half, and also Katzuma did force Ederson Morales into a save in the second half. Perhaps they could have done more in the game, but it was never meant to be. Eventually, Manchester City went away with it. Jeremy Deku scoring the equalizer early in the second half there for Manchester City, with Pep Guardiola returning on the bench for the first time in almost a month. Remember, in the previous 2 games, he wasn't on the touchline, having gone through that back surgery. Then eventually, Bernardo Silva and Bright Erling Haaland scored the other 2 goals to win it for Manchester City. So they remain unbeaten also, but winning 5 in 5. That's 15 points. So they continue. They stay up on top of the table. It is looking more and more likely that they could defend their title, but it's a marathon. We'll wait and see. But good result there for Manchester City. Then Newcastle United did struggle, but managed to beat up against Brentford by a goal to nil. Callum Wilson scoring a penalty in that game in the second half to win it for Ed Howe's side there, who will be also playing in the Champions League next week. So let's wait and see. That was all the action from across the Premier League from different stadiums. Action continues today as Chelsea visit Bournemouth, while Arsenal travel to Everton, and then on Monday night, when Nottingham Forest host Burnley in the other fixture to conclude match day 5. So here are the table standings as things stand after those games played, after the 7 games that were played on match day 5. Manchester City lead the pack with 15 points. That's from 5 games. Tottenham are second, 13 points from 5 games. Liverpool 13 points as well, while Brighton come in 4th place with 12 points. Arsenal are 5th with 10 points from 4 games, just as much as West Ham United with 10 points, but from 5 games there. Aston Villa are 9 points. That's in 7th place. Crystal Palace in 8th with 7 points. Fulham in 9th with 7 points. Brentford 10th with 6 points. Newcastle 11th, 6 points. Nottingham Forest 12th, and Manchester United 13th, all with 6 points. Chelsea, who play today against AFC Bournemouth, are 14th with 4 points, as well as Wolverhampton Wanderers with just 3 points from 5 games. Bournemouth only 2 points. Sheffield United just a point, just as well as Everton, who are 18th, and then Burnley and Luton Town, who are yet to put a point on their boards there. So those are the standings from the Premier League. Look out for that action today. I know Arsenal fans have been having a lot of banter against Manchester United fans, but not count your chicks before they hatch as you travel to Everton, where you've not won in the last 5 games at Goodison Park. 4 losses and 1 draw isn't a good picture for the Gunners there. But that's it from the Football Tribe desk. So do not forget to like, comment, and share, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.